and we're going to be doing an Earth Month inspired look. I know that Aveda has encouraged some of their Aveda artists to participate in a competition where you choose an image themed around water, and then do either your cut or your color, and then submit it. And there's some really great prizes, like a mentorship from Ricardo or from Ian. So I know I'm really excited about all the things that Aveda has going for Earth Month. So today is my Earth Month inspired tribute, and what we're doing today is something I really wanted to bring you guys a little bit of the Van Michael experience, but to hairbrained. So something that really sets us apart from others is a little bit of our consistency. So we have what we call at Van Michael the performance wheel. And the performance wheel is really what helps us keep on track and have a consistent result every single time. So just to bring you up a little bit to speed on what I'm starting to do with Cam, and then in the direction that we're going. So over here we have the performance wheel, and the first thing that we do at Van Michael Salon is a portfolio consultation. So in the modern day salon, a lot of times that portfolio consultation starts over our cell phones. So that's definitely what happened with Cam and I today. I definitely like to include my models because I feel like your haircuts and your style look the best when your model's really excited about what's happening as well. So we started our portfolio consultation, and really we would like to head in this direction. We would like to keep it really nice and flippy. We would like to see some strong flips. We would like to retain some length, but really what's been happening with Cam's hair is that it's been really, really round. So what we're gonna do today is that we're really gonna try to disrupt Cam's shape. So we definitely used our color inspo. I instantly thought of Cam because Cam always rocks blue hair, so I instantly thought of Cam. But Ashley at our Buckhead location, who's one of our co-directors of color, we used an inspiration of water to kind of help unify Cam's hair. Also, really what helps me stay on track with my hair is that I've started out with originally just my subsectioning. Today it's purple and yellow, just because that's what we have. But this is where I'm starting, and it's not completely filled in, just because I'm gonna give myself some grace to complete this as we go. So we've started with our portfolio consultation. We like to use a lot of different images and a lot of different colors to make sure that we're onto the same track. But really, I also love in my heart to have a moment of wellness. So this is our stress fix. Do you like lavender?
Yeah.
I do? Okay, good. I hope you like lavender. I chose stress fix because lavender reminds me of Croatia, and they're some of my absolute favorite hair cutters. So stress fix is my favorite moment of wellness behind the chair. And then we get going. So what I'm going to cut on Cam today is that I'm starting. In my consultation with Cam, I said, do you like your hair to flow away from your face, towards your face? How do you like it? And Cam said kind of all of the above. So really, I want a lot of versatility to this haircut. And also, Cam doesn't get their haircut all that often. So really, I chose my weapon of choice from my toolbox, which is going to be my shears. And why I chose this is that I just really feel like there's been a lot of enlightening happening at home enlightening. And so I do feel like Cam's hair could use a little bit of a strength. So I didn't want to use a tool that, although I want to add some texture and create a lot of movement to Cam's hair, I really did not want to disrupt the cuticle too much. So I've chosen my shears today as my weapon of choice. And essentially I like all the tools, it's just right time, right place. So really here, you can just see that right here where the comb leaves the head is where I've started out my little baby triangle. So this triangle is what's going to be my fringe. If the head is a round sphere, anything that falls in front of where this comb rounds forward, that hair is going to naturally fall forward. And I've ended this triangle right here below the recession, just so that we can make sure that this is really nice and full. And then that's going to help this placement of where the fringe is going to be. So from there, I took a parallel triangle, just parallel lines to these diagonal forward lines. And what I did was I created a triangle. So I chose how short I want that front fringe to be. I just brought that down. And we really want this to still push a touch out of their face. Cam is a dancer, and we really want the hair to move, but we'd like to stay out of the face if we need to. So I chose this length, decide where it's gonna hit onto the side. That's gonna be my shortest point. And so I know I want this hair to push in this direction. Like I really want like a nice drop forward. So I've started with that nice shape there, choosing my length. And really what I'm gonna do, I do this all the time. I have my intern Violet in here, who's a recent Aveda graduate, and Violet sees me cut this type of fringe all the time in the salon just because I feel like it grows out really well, and I don't like to overly texturize fringe. So what I'm gonna do now is that I'm gonna pull further away. So really all I'm trying to do is I'm trying to start to gain lengthen through the hair. So as I over direct it even past my center, so really I wanna gain some length, so that means I'm gonna over direct it further away from me. So as I pull this up, what you can see is that there's my guide of what I've just cut, but I really want like a nice swoop. So you're just gonna see me adjust my finger angle. So there's my guide, I let that drop out, and then I'm just gonna layer this flat above. So what this is doing is that it's preserving length here as it starts to drop. It leaves my perimeter nice and strong since I elevated the angle of my fingers just a tiny bit. But by over directing, we know short pushes long, so it's naturally gonna sweep in this direction. So what I'm gonna do is now I'm just gonna take 2 more parallel sections to that. I like to use a YS Park 339 for fine hair. Cam has a ton of hair, but a ton of fine hair. So I just use the fine teeth of my comb, place it right in there at the root. And I want to gain length, so I'm gonna pull further away from me. There's my guide, and I'm gonna cut off all those crunchy little ends. Yeah. Ashley was really cool in our color consultation. It was really last minute. I was thinking maybe Cam just needed a toner. At Van Michael Salons, we are a departmentalized salon, meaning my day-to-day life behind the chair is that I just cut hair. I cut all types of hair, all different people, but I only really exclusively cut hair behind the chair. So with that being said, I always refer to, our colorist for reference. So Cam popped in on Wednesday night, and I was thinking we could just do an all-over toner to help unify their at-home color blue. But Ashley had a really cool idea, and so we liked this root that was already happening in Cam's hair. So we decided to kind of just help bring streaks in. So Ashley just used blue pure pigment. Hopefully she's watching, or she can add it into the comments. So she used blue pure pigment in 30 volume and just foiled it in. It looked like a zipper pattern to the hair. So she just did that, and you can start to see streaks of it as I dry. It was really, you could see the inconsistencies of bands in the color. So instead of just putting an all over wash to it, she decided to break it up this way. And I really love how that is. And I love how it kind of mirrors the 2 different tones of blue in that water image. Perfect. Okay, we specifically chose an image of a river because we at Van Michael Salon each year for Earth Month support the Chattahoochee River Keepers, and the Chattahoochee River Keepers are a really great organization here in town. Atlanta, the city of Atlanta receives 70% of its drinking water from the Chattahoochee. So a lot of us here in town, we know the Chattahoochee through what we call Shoot the Hooch, which is where we take our rafts and we go floating down the Chattahoochee. But really, a lot of times people don't think that the water that they're floating in their raft down in is where we actually source our drinking water. So thank you to the Chattahoochee River Keepers who help protect our drinking water. So at Van Michael Salon, we've really pioneered in some fundraising efforts for them. So we're gonna get a little bigger and bolder this year. All right, so to bring you up to speed, haircut wise, So I've really just sectioned out the line of indentation, maybe just a touch behind that, really right here behind the ear. So if I just were to rock my comb right there on the head, right where that comb meets is where I started out my initial sectioning to divide the front and the back of the head together. Essentially to disrupt Cam's hair, I am gonna play with more of some square flat panels. However, I'm going to adjust my technique. So instead of just going with a really, really flat layer, I have decided I really want to keep some of this length at the bottom because I really want it to flip out. So we know short pushes long, and I know I want to keep this length. So all that means is I just pull higher away from it. One of my absolute favorite educators is DJ Muldoon, and he's like a huge Hairbrain member. If you don't follow him, you should. But he just keeps it so simple. Hair cutting is you just pull away from what you want to keep. So you're going to hear me reference that a lot because I'm like a huge DJ fan. But I want to keep this length at the bottom, so I'm just naturally going to put my fingers right there at the root, and I'm just going to lift further away. Now, in Cam's pre-existing hair, everything was just very, very, very round, already flowing away from the face. But I really like, and we both like in some of these images, we want a little bit more length on the sides. We really like this blonde one probably the most. And we can really see that there's some length here to the side and there's some length here versus something much more short to long in that direction. So instead of me starting at the front and working my way to the back, I'm just simply starting right here behind the ear. And now I'm gonna take a parallel diagonal section forward. And then I love these clips. These are the tiny YS Park clips. They're so strong, I really don't even need the larger ones. And I'm just gonna cinch that out of my way so that I can clearly see what's directly in front of me. So I'm gonna take the fine teeth of my comb. I'm gonna comb into my section, gonna comb down for tension, and I'm just gonna elevate up, and I'm gonna cut down. Cool, so each time coming all the way to the root, fine teeth of my comb, elevating out. Perfect. Perfect. So this year we're also doing our digital raffle again. Van Michael, we did a digital raffle last year as well as a really great event that we're making even bigger and better this year called Reflect for the River. And so this year our digital raffle is something that everyone can participate in. And that can simply be, that's going to be rolling out into the salons this week. And we have a 5-night stay at an Airbnb in Costa Rica. It does not include the travel, but it's a 5-night stay and it's just a walk from the beach. It's so cute. Marty and Cooper, you are the coolest. And then we also have a complete Van Michael experience makeover. We have a hive tour from Bee Downtown, which of course, you know, that's what I'm entering to go visit the bees. Bee Downtown is a really cool network. They install hives with corporations all over the Southeast. In the city of Atlanta, they have a really long-running connected corridor to where they can help assess the health and integrity of our city. And so they help suit people up, and you can go visit the queens. And then we also have a paddle boat tour down the Chattahoochee. So we're kind of doing a lot of Earth events that people can enter in digitally. But our exciting event that we did last year for the very first time is that we've partnered with a company called Bold Monk Brewing Co. And we had an outdoor beer garden hair show. And so essentially we were just like all chomping at the bit to like do anything creative. So essentially it kind of started there. Earth Month is always going to give us a really great excuse. And it was really exciting. Like everybody just got really excited into the event. We ended up having an absolute blast. But this year we have, we're going to invite other local Atlanta salons. So if you're on the other side of this and you're in the city of Atlanta and you would like to participate and Reflect for the River, we would very much like to share some hair with you. So we of course would love any Aveda salon, but this doesn't have to be just an Aveda salon. The Chattahoochee gives us all drinking water in the city of Atlanta, and I really just feel like the one thing that helps unify everybody all the time is our environment. I really think that that's where my passion for protecting our pollinators came from, is that no matter what, we really do have to protect the world we live in because you know, we don't have another. There is no planet B. So I really think starting in your own backyard, starting with your own water source is always a great way to go, as well as staying connected to how you can help on the larger front to help influence larger corporations as well. All right, perfect. So I just slowly worked my way forward, and that is just because I really wanted to keep all of this length right here at the face. And I still wanted to keep all of this length right there behind the ears. So that's why I've just lifted everything and elevated up. So lots more of internal texture while maintaining length through the bottom. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm now gonna hop around to the other side. So I'm gonna give myself a guide. So I'm gonna section out that last little baby section right here. And then I'm gonna hop over here and I'm gonna do the exact same thing over here. Gonna take a diagonal section forward. I love these YS Sparks because they have this nice little, I get all my tools from Hairbrain. They have this nice little sectioning tooth, and I just place that like firmly and press down. Section nice and clean out of the way. All right, let's get some of those out of the way. Perfect. So what I'm gonna do is that now I'm changing my body positioning. Really all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start from the bottom and I'm gonna work my way up. Since this is my second side, I don't wanna cut it too short because I can always go shorter. So I'm just gonna start at the bottom, cut upward, stop at my second knuckle, elevate out, and continue elevating up. So again, I'm not staying completely flat to the head. I am elevating just a tiny bit higher away in order to preserve this length and keep this nice and short. So before I move on, I'm just gonna stop and I'm gonna assess, check for balance. Ooh, that feels good. Check for balance in the center. And then check for balance at the bottom. So then I know my top, my middle, and my bottom are even. Perfect. So I'm just gonna refine that line and then work my way forward. I really find that the cleaner that you work, the faster that everything turns out. Like, it's just gonna turn out better, it's gonna turn out cleaner, you're not gonna have to do as much follow-up work. So really, keeping everything nice and clean is really gonna help you out. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of water, this is just water. I do like to cut with a tiny bit of product in the hair. I just find that it really helps. Anything that I want distributed in the hair all over from roots to ends, I usually put into the hair when it's very wet and even before I begin cutting. So today what I've misted in Cam's hair is the new Smooth Infusion Perfect Blow Dry. This is from Aveda. I really love it. They just reformulated the Smooth Infusion line. And Perfect Blow Dry has like a 75% humidity protection. But I really love how lightweight it is, honestly. I really, really like lightweight products into the hair. So with that being said, I really liked misting that into the hair, combing it all over as a detangling agent, and then sectioning out Cam's hair. So again, just staying really nice and neat as I move myself forward. I'm just gonna work with just the section that I'm working with. I'm gonna comb into the section that I'm going, and then I'm gonna comb down for tension. And then I'm gonna cut at an upward angle. Really just going to my second knuckle. A lot of times what you'll see me do, and Violet sees me do all the time in the salon, is that I'll definitely, if I catch myself and my body positioning shifting a whole lot, if I'm trying to create more of a flat panel in the hair, I'm gonna keep my body and my feet pretty flat and square to my subsection. So what that really helps is making sure your clients are looking straight ahead. Thank you so much. But then also you really just want to make sure that you stay square to what it is that you are cutting as well. So when it comes to here, what I don't really often do When it comes to hand positioning and body positioning, we're very flexible, you know. Essentially, we're just going to try and tell you what and why. So for me, why I really wouldn't cut palm to palm is that it's more difficult for my body to get in here right now to then cut up, versus if I'm right here, all I simply have to do is to release my thumb up out of there and shift my shears to the angle that I'm looking for. And really, your shears do all the work for you. So I'm just barely tappy tap tap inside of there. So instead of cutting palm to palm, I'm now just switching my shear angle, and now I'm just inching my way up. It's equally as calm on my body, and also helps me maintain the angle of elevation that I want in the hair without having to shift my body or my sectioning. So essentially, learning a lot of shear dexterity is something that we practice at Van Michael a lot. We're really intense on our advanced education. I kind of just liken it to like getting your master's. Like if you have received your bachelor's in cosmetology school and then you're interested in getting your master's in either cutting or coloring, I really feel like Van Michael is a really good fit for that individual. Or if you're just naturally somebody that craves education, like I crave education so much. Like Van knows I'm always hitting him up to take a cutting class, but I kind of have expensive taste in cutting class a little bit, and so I really love working somewhere to where they can help fund my education addiction. So that's also one of the reasons that I really like working there. But I think overall we're a very good fit for anybody that has hair on the brain, so I love hair brains so much. Perfect. All right, we're coming to our last section here. I really wanted to preserve that length, so I'm glad that we're running out of hair. Even if you feel like you're running out of hair, just see your sections through. That way if you have any little inconsistencies. All right, and our fringe doesn't meet. Perfect. All right, so now internally what we have happening is that we took diagonal sections forward to the hair. And what we did was that we elevated this hair. I'm gonna make a little cutting line. Instead of us being completely straight, it was just more like this, just slightly subtle. And these just came out of the head to here. And then we slowly gained just the tiniest bit of length. So this now all sits more flat. Instead of where she was shorter in the front before. So by us, even though we took diagonal sections forward, each section was over directed just one section back in order to gain length, because the head begins to round forward. So really we just want to preserve that length into the front. So that's how we did it, just by taking each section and over directing one back. So this is section 1, 2 came into 1, 3 came into 2, and then we slowly move our way forward. So we mirrored that on the same side over here. We love making head sheets just so that in case, you know, you do a demo and you're like, how was that? I loved that haircut. I want to do that again. This way it has a map, because it's all about sustainability, right? So sustainability can come to our environment, or sustainability can also come from our haircut. So one of the biggest things for me when choosing what haircut, what tool, what technique, what elevation is how long someone goes in between their haircut. If you go a really long time in between your haircut, I need this haircut to last a really long time. But what happens if you have a client that wants to come in every 6 weeks? So what happens if you did a shape that you just were really heavily texturized, and it looked great, they loved it, but then they came back 6 weeks later? Can you recreate that exact same shape, not just a second time, but a third time? So really we have a saying here that at Van Michael, that you retain a client on their third visit. So sometimes that is what happens when you gain a new client. They'll come into the salon and they're like, oh, you know, I used to love my hairdresser, but the first haircut was great. Second haircut was pretty good. Third haircut was like nowhere close to the first one. So with that being said, I really think that knowing how to replicate what it is that you're doing and why is essentially all you need to know. It's not about this way is right or this way is wrong. It's just you really make your money on being consistent. You make your money on delivering consistent results behind the chair. And then if they would like a change, then you can. Okay, so essentially now instead of going into autopilot, I'm stopping and I'm looking. So Cam has a really wide surface to their head right and through here, and not, you know, they have a pretty high occipital bone through here. I know that I really want to see this hit the shoulders and start to flip out. We were originally thinking like a She's All That or like a Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen, like a nice flip through the hair. So I would like to see this bottom hit the collarbone and start to flip up. So if I know I want to retain this, but I know I also want to create a lot of internal texture here, I'm also going to go for a pretty similar shape to where I'm lifting higher away from the head. But then I get to decide, where is it that I want this shortest piece to fall? Do I want it to sit right below the occipital bone? You know, a little bit below that? Do I want it to sit really short? Because essentially that's going to tell me what angle that I'm going to cut into the hair. So this is going to be really perfectly square if I cut it right here and that drops down. And I just feel like that's a little bit too short. It's just not as short as I want to go through the hair today. So if I want that to stay just a little bit longer, then I'm going to cut this angle right in through here. So if that's where I want my top length to sit, I know I want to retain this length. This is the angle of hair that I'm cutting. Does that make sense, Violet? Yes. Yeah. I know I can't ask online. I guess I can.
We're getting some thumbs up.
You are? Okay, good, cool. Thank you for the thumbs up. If you guys have any questions, please put them in the chat. We've got Jay, our Director of Operations, who does all things, everything for Van Michael. So we definitely have some support. All right, so there's my length. It's at the bottom of my fingers. I can even pull past that and see it start to drop out. But instead, I'm just going to come right back to it, because really what I want to do is that I want to create. So for this first section, I'm going to start from the bottom, what I'm trying to preserve, and work my way up. I've already visually assessed where I want my shape, putting the teeth of my comb right in there at the root, pulling it straight out. And really what you notice me doing is standing just a touch off to the side. Instead of me standing immediately in front of this first section, even though I am pulling it straight out of the head, I really want to be able to visually assess what it is that I'm doing. So my very first section, before I begin any over direction, I'm just standing subtly off to the side, and I'm just pulling this hair out, and then I'm just choosing my angle. And then there are no wrong answers, you know? I think that's kind of one of the things that we get into, is that we've decided what it is that we're doing, but we don't actually stop and comb the hair down, expose the hair, let it live, see if you like what's happening, and then if you want to change something, you can. But I really feel like this first center section, cutting from the top of the head all the way down to the nape, you really get to start to see the shape that it is that you're creating. And do you like where this piece is sitting? Do you want it shorter or not? And then all we have to do is to adjust our angle of elevation. So I really like that. So I'm going to begin to move forward. So again, to quote DJ Muldoon, always coming back to DJ, but I'm going to pull further away from what I want to keep. So I really want to keep a lot of this length right here. I want to see it flip in front of the ears. So I'm also just going to choose my subsection line according to the shape I want to create. So really, like, the easiest way for me to describe creative cutting when this happens is that you just draw lines where you want the hair to go. I think that's kind of the simplest thing to describe it. So I really want this hair to push right here behind the ears. So I am going to comb into this section in my body. I just took one step to the left because I want this hair to begin to round around the head. And why I want it to round around the head is because this right here on Cam's head was the widest, and I really want to create a lot of texture. So I want to layer through here so that it doesn't build really huge bubbles right here behind the ear. So that's going to be customized for each person. So with that being said, I'm just going to comb up from underneath, and then I'm going to comb down for tension, adjust my shears so that I can maintain my scissor angle. And each time I cut, I don't know if you guys notice this or not, but I cut with just a slight retracting motion, just this right here. So that it's not that I'm pushing into each section, so just to do that just a little bit slower. It's like as I close my blade, I'm pulling out. And it just helps keep your shape. One, it keeps you from cutting yourself. But two, it really helps keep you from pushing hair with your shears. We really don't want to push the hair with the shears. I want to choose my line, and then I want to keep that line. So as I just work my way forward, I just cut with a slight retracting motion. Nice. So I'm just going to begin taking diagonal sections right here to where I want the hair to go. I want the hair to push right behind the ear. I'm going to take my clip, and I'm going to cinch tight against gravity right at the nape. Again, combing at the root into my next section, down for tension. So this feels comfortable for me to cut palm to palm. So essentially it's just what feels comfortable to you, what helps you maintain that shape. And do you have the scissor dexterity in order to maintain that? Like if your shears are too long to where you can't wield them in any which way, maybe something shorter or maybe something lighter weight would help you stay there. So with that being said, I just think that it's nice to learn to not practice just your closing blade, of just using one blade. I think it's also really nice to practice some scissor dexterity.
Our colorist is commenting.
Oh, really?
She says, such a pro.
Such a pro. Who, Ashley?
Ashley, yeah.
I'm dead. Ashley, we were talking about your color. It looks so good when Cam got out of their car today. Cam, you like it?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, Ashley, we were really talking about, again, it all comes down to consultation. So really one of the biggest things we asked of, do you want to stay blue? I heard Ashley ask Cam, which yes, it's Cashy Cam's signature color. But also Cam would kind of like to preserve some of their hair. They do have a habit of coloring their hair at home, even though we hook it up, but y'all get wild. And so with that being said, there were just, again, some of those bands in the hair. So Ashley can comment if I'm wrong, but I'm almost positive that it was 30 volume and blue pure pigment. And it was really cool because one of my favorite parts about Ashley and Joey is that they always show me swatches. Nevada does too. I mean, they just always swatch. Hairbrain has this really cool thing called a color map. To where there's these pages and there's some that are more like orange and yellow, like I think it's the remaining NRP in the hair. You can tell I'm not a colorist, but what I really like is that they can show me exactly what a color is going to look like on blonde hair, on dark hair, on anything, because again, I'm departmentalized. I specialize specifically just in cutting hair. So I really refer to that, but something that makes me feel really good and really confident about each of my models is that our colorists really know how to swatch. They know exactly how to tell you what's happening in the hair. Oh, I'm loving it. I always feel so good when it's looking just like how I want it to. I am going to go back through and put a little bit more internal texture to the hair. But really what I like that's happening is that it's really starting to loosen up, and you can already see it starting to flip and kick at the shoulders. So I really feel like we're in good shape. Okay, I'm going to come right back to my center. Now I'm going to work my way to the other side. And again, the best way to think about it is to just draw your line where you want the hair to go. So horizontal is going to build up the most weight. Vertical is going to remove the most weight. But diagonal, I really find, just subtly pushes the hair. I think that that's why I love diagonal sectioning so much. Okay, so right here, something that helps me a lot is to remember that these heads move. So Cam's head can move for me if I need. So for example, if they're right here, it's very difficult for me to kind of get my hand right in here at the shoulder to get the angle I need. I start to pull away, or I start to like tweak things in order to like force it to work and fit. When you really don't need to do that. It's okay. My clients are like, just put me wherever you need me. And I'm like, that's okay. When it comes to this, I'm quite bossy. So I really think it's important to maintain the angle that you need. So if you need your guest or your model to stretch their neck out so that this right here, I'm going to come up from underneath, come down for tension, right and through here. And what I really love sometimes is that, so this is my angle, but I just subtly push my wrist forward. I don't know if you can kind of see like how that really helps my scissors align with my cutting angle and with my scissors. So instead of me like this right here, I'm just going to subtly push my wrist forward and then just inch, and see again that subtle retraction, because I'm not trying to cut anything of my skin or my knuckle. I'm just trying to really keep that line right here, push that wrist forward, and then just inch my way up. Perfect. All right, I'm going to blast through this side so that we can keep it moving. Okay, so we have a lot of really exciting events. We as in Aveda, because I'm representing Aveda today, which is such a cool opportunity. I really hope a lot of the Aveda fans on the other side. Wendy, thank you so much for this opportunity. I just feel so honored. I love Hairbrain so much, but really to like, for April 1st to be Earth Month, and to really be starting out and doing education representing the brand that I care about so deeply. I think why I care about it so deeply is that I didn't really grow up doing anybody's hair. I didn't really grow up in the beauty industry. Honestly, what brought me to the beauty industry was the Aveda mission. I knew that I really liked to touch people, to use my hands to make people feel better. With touch, it's definitely my love language. So I definitely thought about nursing or athletic training. But then we had used Aveda products my whole life, so I was naturally very attached to the smell. We used to sit in the bathtub with active composition on our scalp and detox on our ends after we got out of the pool. So really some of my earliest smell memories are definitely attached to Aveda. So I had a strong smell connection with my memories. But on the other hand, once I read the Aveda mission and realized there was this school in Cincinnati, I was from Dayton, Ohio. So I went to Aveda Frederick's Institute in Cincinnati, Ohio. And then once I read there, I initially signed up for both, and I did go to both. I went to both skin aesthetics and cosmetology, just because I was like, I don't know anything about the beauty industry. I would like to learn everything about the beauty industry. But then once I heard about Aveda's education program, I was really like, you know what? I'm self-funded. I took loans out for my school. I really want to learn a lot more, but I can't afford to keep taking loans out. So I moved to Atlanta, Georgia in 2007, which is really crazy because Jay and I just interviewed a model for an upcoming photo shoot the other day who was born in 2007. I've got my vintage Earth Month shirt from 2009. I couldn't decide what Aveda Earth Month shirt to wear today, so I like this one a lot just because it's all about little baby steps, and that is all it takes, is a lot of tiny small changes that really add up to a big difference, and taking little baby steps to help protect our earth. So this one was one of my favorites, but I've got a whole drawer full. Plenty of them got tie-dyed during the lockdown and the pandemic, but this one survived and it made it today. But definitely a huge passionate fan of the Aveda mission, which is why I'm such a huge advocate for Earth Month. Perfect. Okay, last section. Again, I want to preserve this area. I want to keep this disconnected from the sides. So I'm just pulling away, preserving this length, lifting away from the corner of the head to really preserve that length. Cute. So by this hair being over directed back just a touch here at the ends, what that does is it helps pushes it forward. So that way we kind of get, let's take our sides out, Let's take a look. Let's give her a little mist down.
Where should I be?
Let's...
You go over here?
Yeah, I want to see what Cam looks like too. Okay, exciting. We're in Sandy Springs today. This is our corporate location where Jay has helped set up a studio for us today, so we're really excited. All right, cool. So I'm gonna pop this down. We want a lot of versatility to Cam's hair, but really, again, it's always gonna come back to portfolio consultation and really asking a lot of questions. There's never gonna be a perfect picture. If there is, that's amazing and it's really cool, but essentially you just wanna look at these images and kind of really dissect it out. When I practiced this haircut last night, I practiced it square on top and also a little bit more round to decide how we like it. I don't know if you guys practice your haircuts at home. I love the Professionals Who Practice series on Hairbrained. I'm a huge fan, and I also think it's always really great to improve your craft. So anytime, I respect the community so much, so anytime that I'm doing any of these, I'm definitely going to be practicing my shape at home before I come in. Okay, so essentially, Van always says you look at the hair and you decide what you want to keep and then you cut the rest. So I think it's actually really good advice. And so really I've decided what I want to keep is a little bit of this length right in through here. Again, I really like that. It doesn't have to perfectly connect underneath. But I do want to preserve a little bit of this length right here, just because I think it's just really cute right around the face to connect with this fringe and everything keep flipping in this direction. So with that being said, I know I'm going to probably over direct this just a touch, but really when it comes back down to all of these images that we look at, you can definitely see that this does not gain length. This starts to round up. This starts to keep it nice and round and soft. So that's essentially just telling me the shape that I want to do today. So I'm going to twist you just a touch so we can let Jay see. So what I'm going to do is that I've really started to let the hair live just a tiny little bit. Try not to force it into any direction. You want to force it to let it live where it wants to live. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to come right here to the crown and section this out. And again, I'm just gonna look at the hair, I'm gonna assess the shape, and then I'm gonna choose my angle of elevation. So there's my guide from underneath. Do I want to round the top? And then my length is here, then it's quite short. And I wanna keep it just a little bit longer to kind of have a little bit of that round shape in through the back. So although I'm gonna elevate and create a round shape, I'm just not going to take it too short. So here's my guide from the underneath. I'm gonna just again switch to where I can just use the very tips of my shears and again just retract that back. Perfect. So now I'm gonna take pivoting sections. I'm gonna pivot off of that home, comb into my section, then once more for tension. And I'm just gonna round up, keeping that length falling right there. And then again, coming back to home. Whenever I'm cutting pivoting sections, I always like to call this center pivot home, just come back to home each time. Shove that out of the way, and then we can just keep rotating Cam. Did anybody have any questions when it comes to the haircut, at least? No? Perfect. Okay, good. Cool. Means I'm doing a good job explaining. So again, taking just that strong tooth of my comb, coming right back in through here, elevating up. I'm going to begin my over direction. There's my disconnection from my sides underneath. Here's my guide from the back. I know that I want to begin to maintain length. So I'm now going to take parallel subsections. So I started here, pivot, pivot, pivot to here. Now parallel, 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 and each one's gonna come all the way back. Perfect. Once I really begin to over direct a lot of hair, I start to switch to use the wide teeth of my comb. Versus the fine teeth. So here I am with the wide teeth. I'm really pushing a lot of hair, so I switch from the wide teeth of my comb after I get all the hair moving in that direction to the fine teeth, come up from the base of where I'm over directing and inch my way up. Yeah. Okay. Each time I'm coming right back to where we were, gathering all that hair using the wide teeth of my comb, over directing back, elevating up, and I run out of hair. Perfect, right as I meet the fringe. Perfect. Okay. If Nevada's on the other side, she's gonna be like, oh, Hannah's singing. She's getting happy. I do always sing once I get really happy and like my shape. Okay, so what I'm doing here, exact same thing from the other side, coming to my pivoting section, elevating up, rounding the hair, pivot from there, elevating up, rounding the hair. So this is something that I would cut in the salon, although this is also something that I would consider can be a little bit more fun. I don't cut it all the time, but it can be on many different ages as well. I think that we saw this a lot as I was growing up, and it's really fun to start to see a lot of these shapes come back. Okay. I'm going to begin to run out of hair. Once I begin over directing, I really don't like to move my body a whole lot. Like I like to stay in one stationary place and over direct everything back. Perfect. So you can see as this drops down, we preserved that length here that we wanted to keep. So once the hair's dry and I really wanted to go back through, I'll probably elevate diagonally and just start to chip into this to push it away and have internal movement push it versus really taking this layers too short around the face. I feel like that would start to make Cam look just a little bit more dated. Yeah, we want to keep it youthful. We really want to have a nice youthful, fresh feeling to this haircut. Perfect. Okay, just slightly remisting down. I'm going to get Cam's hair dry. Then we're going to chat just a little bit more about Earth Month. Oh, you look cute. I love all these shags. Like, they're just so easy. Cute. Cool. Perfect. Okay, so with that being said, I wanted to have just a little bit of hold to it. So smooth infusion, perfect blow dry. It's gonna even out the cuticle. It's gonna protect the hair from heat. It's gonna fight frizz and humidity. It's gonna give me that really nice, lightweight, healthy feel to the hair. But retexturing gel is a long-time favorite of everyone. It's got a really nice light shine to the hair, but I like to liken hair to fabric. So you can have like a woolly fabric of hair, something much more coarse. Sometimes, essentially the best way to explain products to clients of like, sometimes you need fabric softeners and then sometimes you need starch to product or starch to your fabric. So with that being said, it's kind of the same thing when it comes to a lot of product into the hair. So what I've done is that I've used a softener product, but I also wanted to use now something just a little bit of hold, because I would really like for this hair to flip. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn my flat iron on. My favorite Best Brush. Best brushes have just like a very subtle dome to them. They're designed to like rock gently onto the hair. So I really want this hair to lay onto Cam's forehead. So I'm just blow drying from above and down. And really this is the point in the Van Michael performance wheel that we consider the blow dry education. So if you're not using the opportunity when you're blow drying your guest's hair to educate them on how to style their hair, I mean, your haircut's only as good as it is when they recreate it at home. So essentially, it's really important to educate your guests on how to blow dry their hair. And one of the biggest things that I've learned behind the chair is that guests don't understand that you need to blow dry with the cuticle. So by blow drying with the cuticle, a great way to know if you are doing that is that if you are able to push the hair in the direction you want it to go with your airflow. If you are able to push the hair where you want it to go, then you are working with the cuticle, which is going to do two different things. One, you're actually drying the hair faster. And two, the other important thing is that you're helping smooth down that cuticle. So underneath of a microscope, if hair has all these little scales on it, then you really want to help all of those little scales lay down. I sometimes tell them it's like a snake skin or like fish scales. Really a fish scale is a great analogy to share with the guests, because essentially people know that when you've handled a fish, it's sometimes like its scales are ruffled up and it's actually very matte in texture. But when you smooth all of its scales down, then it naturally starts to reflect light. So people understand that they can get hair dry, but they don't really understand that you're not going to be able to make hair shiny if you don't help the cuticle lay down. So really I wanted this hair to push back, which is why I use my direction of airflow to help tell this hair to flip back. But now I want this hair right behind the ear to flip up. So I'm just grabbing the hair, lifting up and away, and blow drying up and from underneath. Pushing this hair forward. I'm really trying to focus this airflow at the root, because the root of hair, especially on Cam's hair, is healthy. We didn't really do anything. I mean, that was the really cool part of what Ashley suggested, is that we didn't have to go back through and re-bleach Cam's roots. We decided to just really keep it super healthy, just put some pure pigment in there. You can start to see those dark blue streaks through the hair. So that being said, Cam's root is really, really, really healthy. So we just want to go through and we want to make sure we're getting the roots of hair dry first. So reflect for the river. I would like to share just a little bit more about. So we are inviting local Atlanta salons to participate this year. So for $1,000 buy-in, if you can have a salon loft, you can have a salon like a full condition salon. It doesn't matter. You can be Aveda, it doesn't matter at all, because 70% of Atlanta's drinking water comes from the Chattahoochee. So next Friday, we have one of my very best friends and one of the best colorists in the entire world, Nevada Blue, and she's going to share some coloring techniques with you. But we're also going to be updating you on the different Atlanta salons that have partnered with us to help raise money for the Chattahoochee. So we're really excited to be able to share this opportunity. So for $1,000 buy-in, if a salon would like to organize their models, we'll help orchestrate any of it. We'll help plan choreography if you like. We'll help you find wardrobe, or if you're just all on your own and you have your own creative vision, we're there to celebrate you and to celebrate your craft. Ironically, Cam was our dancer from the Reflect for the River last year, who opened up the whole entire segment. Cam's hair was much shorter. My coworker Whitney cut her hair, and my coworker Tyler colored her hair, and our very talented choreographer Bubba came and helped us orchestrate. But it's outside, it's in a beer garden, it's in West Midtown, and Boardwalk Brewing Co. has donated their space to us in order to have about this. So we love it. It's outside. There's this beautiful runway. Their food is so good. But essentially, we just want to fellowship with you. We want to celebrate your craft. We want to raise a lot of money for the Chattahoochee River Keepers and for Earth Month. And we really just want to gather together. We miss everybody. The coolest part about being from Atlanta is that really from the moment I moved here, I could always tell that there was something special about hair in Atlanta, Georgia. It's definitely a huge hair city. There's a lot of talent that lives here, but it's not this competitive nature. It's like everybody, I don't know if it's like Southern hospitality, like I don't really know what it is that makes Atlanta quite so unique, but I just love the community, especially when we all get together. So when Dan suggested this year, so last year we raised $5,000, a reflect for the river, and it was really cute because we just did our walk here at Boulder Mouth and we were sharing with them how we would like to make it bigger this year and have more guests. And Cindy, who's a client of mine, and it's really one of my favorite things about working behind the chair is that people get to really touch your life, but I was feeling kind of naive. I was like, maybe I don't need to, maybe I'm kind of naive in thinking that we can raise $20,000. And she's like, get it real. You can raise 25, you can raise 30. So I think it's important to surround yourself with people that help you dream just a little bit bigger. And Cindy LeBlanc helps me dream bigger. And Van, of course, always does. So I think it's just really important to kind of help utilize all of the advice that people can share with you and help kind of, create those deeper connections. But my life has been changed behind the chair because of what people have shared with me. So I think it's really cool when that happens. I'm gonna grab my pen. Okay, perfect. We are almost dry.
Someone in the chat a minute ago wanted to know why you weren't using a nozzle.
Okay, that is a really great question because I do often switch to a nozzle. I think essentially at this point, when I switch to a nozzle, my favorite way to describe to clients why I would use a nozzle versus right now I'm in leaf blower mode, right? So I'm able to push the hair in a lot of different directions. I'm able to move it, but I'm also covering a very large surface area. And I'm also trying to get a very large amount of hair dry very quickly. So with that being said, I'm more in like leaf blower mode. But then when I switch to my nozzle, it's like I'm more into pressure washer mode, meaning I'm really sealing that cuticle down. I'm really creating a lot of shine to the hair. And I'm really more styling and like setting the hair. So I'm not going to be moving the hair quite as much. And then that would be more if I was like in styling setting. So a perfect example of that would be, I have a few different routes that I can go to style Cam's hair. So I could have gone with a really classic. It's funny, I almost thought about asking some of our senior staff about how they like to style their flippy haircuts. But I could probably go with a round brush, and this means I really only want the air to sit right where my brush is at. But I think because of the amount of hair that Cam has, which is a ton, I think that creating even a more round shape or fuller shape isn't necessarily going to work. So if I know I'm going to seal the cuticle down with heat, I'm not going to go with extra added heat with my round brush, which is a ceramic heat, and definitely adds more texture to it. So instead, I'm going to use a flat iron today. And so that's what I'm going to seal the hair down with. Essentially, it's just, I'm going to get hair dry in the shape if I know I'm going to hit it with heat. And then if I'm not going to hit it with heat afterwards, then I'm probably going to pop my nozzle on, and then I'm going to seal that cuticle down. Cool. So right here, behind the head, these are our Ergo flat irons. I like these a whole lot. Pretty chill when it comes to flat irons, to be honest. I just don't like anything too wide right here at the bottom. So I'm just gonna subtly just pop this in, and I'm just gonna take layers and flip this out. I am gonna glide through and do a little bit of texturizing, but I really want a little bit of the shape to start to reveal itself before then. Perfect. So I'm not doing this all in one big giant cluster. We want to see a lot of flips to the hair. So we're definitely taking this in tiers. I really think it's important to also educate your guests. Like, we don't think about it at all. We think naturally, I'm just going to take that clip and I'm going to clip up against gravity. Clients kind of don't think that way. Like, it's important to encourage them. They're like, oh, it's so much easier when you can do it. But I think it's very important to encourage them to clip up against gravity, because that's going to keep your clips and keep hair out of your way and keep you from getting really frustrated. Cool. So I'm just going to slowly work up the head. So this weekend is Naha. I'm watching and waiting to see Antoinette's collection. I cannot wait. I just saw Ian and Gerard on a live right before this on Instagram where they were talking about Earth Month and Naha and presentations and all that Aveda's got going on. I know we have a huge lineup every single Friday this month at noon. Like I mentioned, Nevada's probably going to be right here in the same very warm room. Yeah, 1 week from today at noon as well. So, but in between then, we've definitely got Kenneth Dawson, who will be at Naha. I know I heard Gerard and Ian ask if I was going to be at Naha this weekend, and I really wish I was. But I'm very excited to follow along on Kenneth, Magic Hand 7 Dawson. And he is going to be there helping the Aveda Artist Support Team. So I cannot wait to see what Antoinette's created, what the team has created. I think Naha is just such a really great space. I'm very jealous of the crowd, man. It's definitely the crowd that you want to see. Okay, cute. Oh, we're getting you there. Cute. We have like a... we don't have a mirror in here, but we do have like a TV screen that I'm able to see off of. Okay, so really the only thing that's important right here is that I do want to flip over the ear versus back here. It's like a pretty strong flip, but really right here, instead of it being like perfectly straight out, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop my angle of elevation, and it's just going to be at like a very subtle diagonal back and wing out. So with that being said, I'm just going to grab this hair, use my comb. I tell clients that it's kind of like smoothing a sleeve out. Like you wouldn't just like just use your iron to push your sleeve smooth. Like you would smooth the sleeve out before you begin to iron it. So a lot of times that's how I liken using a comb, but you just kind of got to smooth your sleeve out and then drop that angle. It's going to be a diagonal section back. Nice. Are you listening, Cam?
Yeah.
You are? You nodded like, yeah, you're taking notes. Cute. Cam is a really talented dancer. Yeah, I know. I love seeing and following you. Their handle is Cashy Cam. I know everyone through their Instagram handle. I do, but I love finding different artists through Bubba Carr, who's our choreographer, who's just one of the nicest people on the planet, also one of the most talented choreographers of all time. But Bubba really has a passion for uplifting talent. And so I also just love seeing what he does, the choreography he creates. But he's also always connecting us with really awesome, passionate individuals. Cool. So really once I get up here, I mean, I'm going to give it like a very subtle slide, but I didn't want like a strong flip the higher up I get. So essentially, oh, cute. Okay. I was like, you got to be adorable. How old are you, Cam?
21.
Oh, wait, I did see that. You just turned 21. Okay, you do have to be 21 and adorable and stunning to sometimes pull off something like this, but it definitely fits their vibe. I watched She's All That on the plane ride to Houston for Next Fest Houston, which was put on by Neocorp. And oh my God, did we have a ball. But I watched She's All That on the airplane on the way out. And so I've been really into all of these super shaggy, flippy haircuts. Cam's hair is not quite as long as that yet, but we're getting there. So I definitely think we started you in the right path today. So if you are going to Next Fest in Nashville, get ready because that was a party. I mean, I left all of my combs, my shears. I had to go on Hairbrained. I had to rebuy a ton of my stuff, which came super fast, thank God, because it made it through the hair show, it made it off stage, made it after my photo shoot, but then we had a good old time and my shears didn't make it back. So I'm very grateful to rebuild my kit, but I'm very jealous. I'm doing a photo shoot here in Atlanta, so I cannot go to Nashville, but I'm very excited for everybody to go. I think our team's super stoked. I know they have a really great collection that they're working on, but if you're on the other side of this and you're going to Nashville, get ready. It's going to be a good time. Okay, perfect. So I was kind of going to go, I'm really like loving and hating that everyone online has been hating on the zigzag part because I secretly love it, but I really think on Cam's hair, Cam just has too much hair. So if I zigzag it, then I just really feel like it's just gonna keep it a little bit too full. Versus that center line is kind of gonna drop that fullness just a little tiny bit. So it's a great tip for you and your guests behind the chair. Like if you have a guest that really wants their hair to look fuller, do not encourage a super straight, clean line to the hair. Perfect. Okay, we're coming down to the home stretch. Ooh, I'm gonna go with the green comb. I don't know why, but I really want to use my green comb. Okay, let me take a look at you. Oh, you look so cute. Okay, cute. Okay, so I'm liking a lot of what's happening. I just really want to encourage a little bit more. You look like the photos. It's really cute. I'm stoked for you to see it.
I can kind of see the reflection.
You can? Okay, cute. I love it. All right, so we know short pushes long, right? So what we really want to do is that we want to just be methodical and think, what am I doing? Why? Can I replicate it? Is it sustainable? If so, execute. So with that being said, I've switched to my texturizing shears. They are not the devil. They are your friend. Just work methodically. So that being said, I'm going to come back to favorite YS Park clips. I'm just going to come through here. And really, this is one of my favorite tips that I've learned. There's our color you can see from just like breaking up that blue, which I thought looked so cool. It looks just like the picture. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm now just going to take this hair, I'm going to flip it up, and I know short push is long, so I'm just going to like eat my way into that direction. And I know that I'm unifying disconnection from the fringe, disconnection through the side, disconnection through the top. So a lot of times what really helps is that if you create a lot of short internal texture to the hair, when you have many points of disconnection through the hair, if you can go through and create internal short pieces that are the same length throughout that, what it's going to do is it's just going to unify these 2 points of disconnection. If anybody wants me to clarify that further, I can, but just so you can kind of see what it is I'm doing, like this is where my disconnection is underneath. And so essentially now I have a line of just very soft internal shorter pieces that are all the same length, which helps it all unify together. And you can just really see how it enhances this same shape. So short pushes long, diagonal sections, take this hair, lift it up into your hands. There's my disconnection underneath. And I'm just gonna eat this little hair. Just chew it in the direction that you want the hair to go. So I'm not really coming this way because I really want the hair to go back. So that's why I'm going in this direction. I'm just pushing the hair where I want the hair to go. Perfect. Yes. Same thing right here. So I'm on, let's go one more section right here. Perfect. Okay, switch to over on the other side. Right here, I'm gonna take diagonal sections back. Flip this hair up. Work these scissors in the direction that I want the hair to go. Perfect. Man, a little bit of texture in your hair goes a long way, Cam. Same thing, lifting this hair up. So what you don't see me doing is grabbing all of the hair from underneath and gathering it all together. Right here, it's just like a touch heavy. Just gonna place this right in here, and I'm just gonna, again, push it in the direction I want the hair to go. Everything is intentional. Everything is intentional. There's my disconnection from underneath. Here's my disconnection from over top. I'm just going to use these short internal pieces to help unify those two sections together. I think the best thing to think about, especially with sustainability on somebody that just has an absolute ton of hair, is to think about disconnection. If everything fits so perfectly together on somebody that just has an absolute ton of hair, it's going to be very hard to create internal texture and movement. So I'm going through here very methodically. In the performance wheel, this would now be where we take notes on the hair. And so what I would be doing is that I would say that I texturized 1.25 inches deep into the hair. Meaning that if Cam came back in 6 weeks, which is not going to happen, but if Cam came back in 6 weeks, I would maybe not texturize right on top of that level. I would maybe skip a haircut and then not texturize on top of that, because it's a lot just like the teeth of a comb. It's that you start out with the solid line and you texturize that, but if you texturize on top of that, we're there to here. But imagine where we went from there. So with that being said, I think it's really important to just kind of keep track of how deep you're texturizing and why. All right, perfect. Does that feel good? I know, it's so warm in here. All right, if you've sat in my chair, you've been one of my clients, you know I'm a huge fanatic. My absolute favorite product ever. Air control. I love air control so much. So really one of my favorite ways to use this is that I use it as a dry texture spray. So I really like to add it to the hair, whether it's day 1, day 2, day 3, but I really want to create a lot of internal movement and texture into Cam's hair today. So I suggest to my guests, if you would like to have some nice lift up top, your first section here, take really nice and close to your part line. And then just take parallel sections, lift the hair up, spray underneath. Violet always notices like a huge cloud of air control around me and through there. But I just feel like that gives me tons of internal texture and movement to the hair. I don't think I really want to put a pomade in the hair, but I do think I could use a tiny bit of pieciness left to the hair. Oh, this is a Brandon Dara. If Brandon's watching this, this is totally like a Brandon Dara thing, but it's classic. Again, I love my Brilliant. I'm an old school Aveda fan with the Brilliant line, but I like to take Brilliant hairspray, rub it into my hands, and then just slide it through the hair as well. So that's going to give us a little bit of pieciness. It's a little bit more wet, so it's going to add a little bit more separation to the hair. And then once I really want the fringe out of my face, or my guest face as well, I think take your air control or your control force. So darker color. Let me send you towards me just a tiny bit. Oh, you look so cute. Thank you. Perfect. So darker bottle means stronger hold. And really the best tip that I can give you or to your guests is to puff the hair and puff this spray in the direction you want the hair to go. So I'm not like this. Instead, I'm coming from above, and I'm just gonna like push this hair with the puffing of my hairspray, and I'm just gonna push it into the direction that we want the hair to go. And then anything that I really want to stay, like kind of these flips to the hair, kicks to the hair, that's something that I'm just gonna like really use my Stronghold hairspray on. Perfect. All right. I think that's wrapping up. Aveda, Hairbrains, Van Michael, April 1st, day 1 of Earth Month. This is our lovely model Cam, looking so cute, very